So in the modern history of the Premier League, going from a really dismal 10th place finish to, well, winning the title the very next year is considered, practically impossible.
I don't know, completely. Yeah.
It just defies all the financial and tactical realities of modern football.
Yeah.
Yet the team that's currently trying to pull off that exact miracle, right, Chelsea Football Club, they're actually the very same club that did it 8 years ago.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. So why is a former Chelsea legend insisting that they are just completely doomed to fail this time around?
That's what we're getting into today. Welcome to the deep dive. We are pulling apart a really compelling and honestly highly contentious debate from a TalkSport YouTube broadcast.
Yeah, it gets pretty fiery.
It really does. So we have broadcaster Jim White, and he's basically trying to keep the peace between former Crystal Palace owner Simon Jordan and former Chelsea striker Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink.
Good luck with that. Right. And our mission today is to use their clash over Chelsea's current season as kind of a masterclass in team building. We're looking at tactical evolution and the brutal reality of what it actually takes to forge a championship-winning culture.
It's a great case study.
Because to me, it's like a massive legacy corporation that just had a terrible fiscal year, you know?
Okay, yeah.
You don't just snap your fingers, hire a new CEO or a manager, and instantly dominate the market again. There's a process.
Right. And Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink, he draws a very rigid line in the sand right at the start of this debate.
Yeah.
His core thesis is that, look, while Chelsea has the talent to maybe challenge for top honors this season, they absolutely will not win the Premier League title.
He's very definitive about it.
Very. He argues that jumping straight from mid-table mediocrity to being crowned champions, it's too steep a climb in today's footballing landscape.
Because the gap is just too big now.
Exactly. I mean, Hasselbaink operates from this premise that a 10th place finish is never just a string of bad luck.
Right, or a few unfortunate injuries.
Right, exactly. Finishing 10th over a full 38-game season, that is a glaring symptom of deep, systemic rot within a football club.
Wow, rot. That's a strong word, but he points directly to the structural overhaul that's currently happening at Stamford Bridge to validate that point, right?
He does.
Because Chelsea is operating under a new manager, they're trying to absorb this entirely new footballing philosophy, and most critically, they're attempting to implement a new defensive system with 5 at the back.
Which is huge.
It's not just a minor tweak on the chalkboard.
No, not at all. Transitioning to a back 5, it completely alters the spatial responsibilities of every single player on the pitch.
Right.
It requires your wingbacks to provide all the attacking width, but they also have to maintain the stamina to drop deep when they're out of possession.
Which is exhausting.
Oh, incredibly.
Yeah.
And then it forces your 3 central defenders to learn this entirely new choreography, basically, for holding the offside line and stepping into the midfield.
And the cognitive load that places on a squad, it just has to be immense.
Oh, it is. It takes hundreds of hours on the training ground to build that muscle memory.
So they aren't thinking, they're just reacting.
Precisely. And Hasselbaink points to their recent Monday night performance against Fulham as the perfect example of this fragile transition.
Okay, because they did look good in that game.
He did. He admits they played beautiful, fluid football in spurts. Breaking the lines, creating overloads.
Just in spurts.
Right. Looking magnificent for 20-minute stretches does not make a team the finished article.
Yeah, a title-winning side sustains that tactical discipline for a full 90 minutes, week in and week out.
Even when the initial game plan breaks down. Especially then.
Right. But Hasselbaink does identify one massive structural advantage Chelsea possesses over the teams they're trying to chase down. The Manchester Cities, Arsenals, Liverpools.
The lack of European football.
Exactly. No European football this season. Hasselbaink boldly predicts they'll finish above teams like Manchester United simply because they have the luxury of playing from Saturday to Saturday.
Which is the ultimate competitive edge for a new manager trying to install a complex system.
Yeah, break that down for us. Why is that such a game changer?
Well, the physical and tactical benefits of a Saturday-to-Saturday schedule, they cannot be overstated. When a team competes in the Champions League or Europa League, their week becomes an exercise in mere survival.
Just getting through it.
Right. Survival and recovery. Think about it. You play a high-intensity match on a Wednesday night in Italy or a Thursday night in Turkey.
Sounds exhausting just saying it.
You fly back to London at 4 in the morning, and Friday is spent entirely on light recovery work in the swimming pool.
Wow.
There is virtually zero time to actually practice football.
Right, because you're just trying to get their legs back.
Exactly. By contrast, Chelsea's new manager gets 4 uninterrupted days on the training pitch every single week to drill the nuances of that five-at-the-back system.
So they can actually learn the choreography you were talking about.
Yes. And it also means fewer muscle injuries and the ability to field your absolute optimal starting 11 almost every single weekend.
Okay, but this is where I want to push back a little, or at least bring in Simon Jordan's argument, because he refuses to let Hasselbank's pessimism go unchallenged in this debate.
Oh, Jordan loves a good counter-argument.
He really does. He looks at that rest advantage and he points to the historical record. He reminds everyone that this exact jump from 10th to 1st, it has been done.
Right.
I mean, Leicester City orchestrated basically the greatest miracle in sports history by winning the league after a near-relegation season.
True.
And even more relevantly, Chelsea themselves went from 10th to champions in the 2015-16 season.
Yeah, the Conte season.
Right, Antonio Conte came in, suffered a few early setbacks, famously switched the team to a back five, featuring Victor Moses as this absolute revelation at wingback, and they just steamrolled the entire country.
They really did.
So history provides a literal blueprint for Chelsea to do this again. Why is Hasselbaink so sure they can't?
Well, Jordan as historical precedent is accurate, obviously, but Hasselbaink counters with the reality of the present moment.
Okay.
Winning the Premier League today requires a level of unrelenting perfection that simply wasn't necessary in 2016.
Because the competition is different.
Completely different. Back when Conte orchestrated that turnaround, Pep Guardiola was enduring this really messy first transition year at Manchester City.
Oh, well, that's right.
And Jurgen Klopp was just beginning his rebuild at Liverpool. The league was in a state of flux.
Right, the door was kind of left open for some.
Exactly. Today, Chelsea is competing against fully realized, tactically flawless machines. Hasselbank's argument is that a team doesn't operate in a vacuum.
Yeah.
To jump from 10th to 1st in the current era, every single moving part within your organization must align perfectly, and you have to rely on multiple elite opponents simultaneously collapsing.
Which is just not going to happen with City and Arsenal right now.
Highly, highly unlikely.
Right. Well, speaking of moving parts, let's talk about the foundation of a team. Because if absolute perfection is the mandatory entry fee for a title race, then the margin for error just disappears entirely at the back of the pitch.
Oh, absolutely.
To me, it's like a skyscraper. You can have this this beautiful, expensive penthouse.
The forward scoring goal.
Exactly. All the glamour up top. But if the concrete in the foundation, the goalkeeper, shifts even an inch, the whole building feels unsafe.
That's a great analogy.
And during a tactical transition, when defenders are learning new systems and inevitably making mistakes, a top-tier goalkeeper acts as the team's tactical shock absorber, right?
They have to. They bail the team out when the new system fails.
Which brings the TalkSport debate squarely to the intense scrutiny surrounding Chelsea's current goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time on him. The debate zeroes in on Sanchez as the ultimate microcosm of Chelsea's broader struggles.
What was Hasselbank's take on him?
Hasselbaink offers a very balanced but, well, clinical assessment. He readily admits that Sanchez is capable of producing brilliant, match-winning performances.
Right. He specifically highlighted that standout game against Paris Saint-Germain.
Exactly, to illustrate his high ceiling. But a high ceiling is irrelevant if the floor frequently collapses.
Yeah.
Hasselbaink repeatedly hammers home this core necessity for a title-contending side. He says, the best goalkeepers are consistent, 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 consistent.
And he pointed to the first goal Chelsea conceded against Fulham as his primary exhibit, right?
It did.
He states pretty plainly that the level of goalkeeping on display there was simply not up to the standard required to accumulate clean sheets in the Premier League.
No, it wasn't. And Simon Jordan actually echoes the sentiment by bringing up a narrative popularized by Jamie Carragher.
Which is what?
That you simply do not win major honors without an elite, world-class goalkeeper anchoring your defense. Jordan points to Alisson Becker's arrival at Liverpool as the transformative moment.
Right, the moment that turned them from entertainers into actual champions.
Exactly. But the challenge, as the source material highlights, is that finding and integrating that elite goalkeeper is incredibly turbulent.
It's messy.
Very messy. It is rarely a seamless plug-and-play scenario. The broadcast brings up David De Gea's initial arrival at Manchester United from Atletico Madrid.
Oh, man, I remember that. Wait, wasn't De Gea like a complete disaster when he first showed up?
Oh, absolutely. The broadcast notes that for his first 18 months in England, De Gea was widely considered a disaster.
Yeah.
He struggled immensely to adapt to the sheer physical bombardment of the Premier League. Teams would intentionally crowd his 6-yard box and just target him with aerial crosses.
Just launching the ball right at him.
Right. It took him a year and a half to add the physical bulk and the command of his penalty area necessary to just survive, let alone thrive.
But I mean, 18 months is an eternity in professional sports.
It's a lifetime.
If your tactical shock absorber is fundamentally compromised for a year and a half, the pressure on the manager and the defensive line becomes suffocating.
Which is why Arsenal's recent handling of their own goalkeeping situation provides such a fascinating contrast here.
Right. They made that highly controversial decision to bench Aaron Ramsdale,
Yeah.
a player who was, by the way, beloved by the fans and performing adequately. And they benched him in favor of bringing in David Raya from Brentford.
And the wider footballing public initially viewed that move with deep, deep suspicion.
I remember people thinking it was crazy.
Totally. At Brentford, Raya was well regarded, sure, but few analysts looked at him and immediately identified the final piece of a championship puzzle.
Right.
And running two top goalkeepers in tandem was seen as creating unnecessary dressing room friction.
Just asking for drama.
Exactly. However, Mikel Arteta understood the specific tactical mechanics required to elevate Arsenal's system. It wasn't just about shot stopping for him.
It was about distribution.
Yes. Raya acts essentially as an extra center back in possession. His ability to hit precise passes under high pressure allows Arsenal to completely bypass opposition pressing structures.
Wow.
And his starting position is incredibly high, allowing him to sweep up dangerous counterattacks before they even materialize.
So they took a huge risk, but it paid off.
Massively. That ruthless, uncomfortable change is now recognized as a masterstroke that officially elevated Arsenal into a different tier of tactical dominance.
So based on that, is it fair to place the entire burden of a team's championship hopes on one single player's consistency? Because pinning the entirety of Chelsea's defensive fragility on just Robert Sanchez's shoulders feels like it kind of ignores the mechanics of how a defensive unit actually functions.
I agree, and Hasselbaink actually showcases his tactical depth here by refusing to let the defenders off the hook.
Right.
When analyzing the second goal Chelsea conceded against Fulham, the immediate public reaction was to castigate Sanchez for pushing the ball back into a dangerous area.
Sure, it's the easiest narrative,
Sure.
right? Blame the man with the gloves.
Always. But Hasselbaink insists the failure was deeply systemic. He points out that the defenders in front of Sanchez completely abandoned their responsibilities.
They didn't clear it.
Exactly. They failed to execute a fundamental headed clearance. If the center backs are making catastrophic, unforced errors, the entire defensive structure collapses, regardless of who is standing between the posts.
And there is a really telling moment in the source material regarding the depth required to survive those kinds of defensive crises.
Oh, the transcription fumble.
Yes. The broadcast transcript actually fumbles a player's name, referring to a phantom player named Kona coming in to cover for the injured William Saliba at Arsenal.
Yeah, we were looking at that.
Like whether that was a garbled reference to Jakub Kiwior or an accidental crossover with a rival player like Ibrahim Konate, or just a messy transcription. The broader point Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink makes remains undeniable.
Right.
Arsenal has systematically built a roster where a catastrophic injury to a star center back does not derail their season.
Because Arsenal doesn't just have extra bodies sitting on the bench. They have tactical clones.
Clones?